Good morning and welcome back to Junior Church at Home. It's the start of a new year, and do you remember last week Daisy encouraged us to make some New Year's resolutions? That's things which will help us to be better people. And Daisy said that she was going to try and eat healthily because she'd had loads of yummy foods and treat foods over Christmas. So I expect she's going to be eating quite a few fruits and vegetables. Your challenge: how many fruits can you name in the next 5 seconds? Shout them at each other. Okay, who got orange? Anyone get apples? What about a plum? Did anyone think of plums or satsumas? Maybe you got banana. Do you say banana? Or pear? No, all these fruits are really nice and healthy. But our story today, from the beginning of the Bible, back in Genesis, is about a fruit which is a bad fruit. So, I want you to cast your minds right back to when we've done the stories of creation. So God had created this beautiful garden for Adam and Eve to live in. It had lovely trees and plants, it had flowers, all the beautiful animals were around it. Maybe there were some butterflies, maybe there were birds, there would be animals, and it was the most perfect place that God had created. And he wanted his creation, people, to live there. Now, Adam and Eve were walking around this garden, and they knew that there was this tree of knowledge, which was in the middle of the garden. And God had said that they could eat any of the fruits in the garden, apart from the fruit from the tree of knowledge. Now, lots of Bible stories show the fruit as an apple, but we don't actually know what it is. Now, one day, a serpent came along to Eve and said, "Did God really say that you can't eat any of the fruit in the garden?" And Eve said, No, don't be silly. God said we can eat all the fruit in the garden, all except that one from the tree of knowledge. And then that serpent said, "Why can't you eat it?" And Eve said, "Well, God said that we would die." Oh, now the serpent said to her, "But what if I told you you wouldn't die, but you would actually know good and evil? You could be more like God." Now, Eve thought to herself, I'd quite like to be like God and know good and evil and be wise. But God said we shouldn't eat it. What should I do? She looked at the fruit and it looked delicious. So she took the fruit and ate a bite. Oh, it tasted delicious. So she shared it with Adam, who was with her. And he had a bite and it was delicious. The serpent disappeared at that point. And they realised that they didn't have any clothes on, that they were naked. So they hid. Now that evening, God was walking in the garden and looking for Adam and Eve because he liked to talk to them, because he was their best friend. And as he walked, he couldn't find them. So he said, "Adam, Eve, where are you?" And they said, "We're hiding because we haven't got any clothes on." God sighed and gave them some clothes and said, "What have you done?" So they explained that they'd had a bit of the fruit from the tree of knowledge. And God said, "Why did you do that? I told you not to do that. I knew it would harm you." Adam said, "It's Eve's fault. She gave it to me." And Eve said, "No, it's not my fault. It's the serpent's fault. He gave it to me." And because they'd chosen to disobey God, they'd chosen to do the thing which God said not to do, God had to punish them. There had to be some consequence for their actions. And because of that, the serpent lost its legs and had to crawl around on the ground. And men and women had to wear clothes and they had to work in the garden. They had to work hard to get the fruit and all the plants to grow properly. Because of their choice, their friendship with God was broken. And they had to leave the garden. God couldn't trust them in the garden anymore, that they wouldn't try and eat things which he'd said not to. But we know that God has made a way for us. So if we do something which we know is wrong, we should always say sorry. And we should always try not to do it again. And God has sent us Jesus. Jesus is the one who forgives us. When we've done something wrong, we can be forgiven so we can be friends with God again. So this week, as you're making choices, Try and make those right choices. Think about whose voice you're listening to. Are you listening to people who you know love you and care for you? Or are you listening to people who might lead you to do something which you don't really want to do? Make good choices, and I'll see you again soon.